I've stated before on this channel how I think Netflix's Daredevil is one of my favorite pieces of television ever. I'm serious. This show is back-to-back excellent quality. This surpasses just being a good superhero show. It's like the Logan of Marvel television. The amount of raw emotions that I felt when I watched it for the first time was insane. Rage, grief, love, sorrow, hope. Netflix's Daredevil made me feel alive. When it got canceled in 2019 because of rights issues, I was heartbroken. It had so much potential, especially since the final season was one of the best things I have ever seen in my life. And to see it snuffed out like that for such a stupid reason was really sad to me. Years go by with no hope in sight of Daredevil returning until this happened. When I saw Charlie Cox's Matthew Murdock on screen in No Way Home, I actually shit my pants. I was so hyped up. I don't give a fuck about these two assholes. Give me more Charlie, please. After that, we don't hear much until San Diego Comic-Con 2022. Holy fuck. We're finally gonna get a continuation to the series. I was ecstatic at the time, but I was a little confused because Daredevil Season 3 was basically already an adaptation of the Born Again storyline from the comics, but whatever, it's not a big deal. The show will probably still be good. I should have kept my concern. As we wait for the show's release, reports of things behind the scenes start to get a bit concerning. Like the showrunners stating that Karen and Foggy aren't coming back for Born Again, even though they were basically main characters before. We also get some rumors that this won't even be a continuation of the Netflix series, even though all of the previous actors are playing the exact same characters they were before. This gets even worse as we get reports that most of the season will be a legal drama and that we won't even see Matt in the damn suit until halfway through it. Then out of nowhere, the whole show gets revamped with new writers and directors to take the series in a new direction, even though they had already filmed the episodes for Daredevil Born Again. What a shit show. The odds are completely overwhelming the chance of this turning out good, and I was desperately holding on to hope that it could be just as good as Daredevil was before. Now that every episode is out, was Daredevil Born Again able to stick the landing? No, not really. Before I talk about all the stuff I disliked for the rest of the video, let's talk about the stuff I did like. Even though they did have some flaws, which I'll get into later, I did really like some of the fight scenes. Notably the Daredevil vs. Bullseye one take, the second Muse fight, and when Daredevil and Punisher have to team up to fight the militia. Also, some of the performances here are stellar. Charlie Cox, like always, is acting his ass off, and Wilson Bethel was especially fantastic as Bullseye here. You can tell they're really putting 110% into this. And if you watch interviews for both of the actors, you can tell how invested they are in their roles.
This character and this project is one of the things I've been most connected to in my entire career. So it also felt like, you know, putting on your favorite leather jacket and just like getting that skin right back on, man. It felt amazing.
Yeah, I feel really emotional. It's a bizarre experience to have played this character, to have the experiences I've had with this character and the journey that we've been on with the show.
Also, for those who aren't aware, people in real life use the Punisher symbol to support cops who are quote-unquote doing what needs to be done. Like this guy. I don't know, personally, I think it says a lot that the majority of people who support Blue Lives Matter are inspired by and use the logo of a literal mentally ill murderer. And I love that when Frank meets the corrupt cops in the show, he's like, oh, you're inspired by what I do and you're using my logo as a symbol to express that it's good for cops to do that? Oh, okay. I'm gonna kill you now. It's so dumb that this season had to deal with all the behind the scenes bullshit, because honestly, the episodes by the new creative team, episodes 1, 8, and 9, are way better than the other ones. The art direction and style just oozes sauce. The way they play with the aspect ratio and the way they use bold one color lighting, while pretty simple, at least makes it unique from all the other slop from the MCU. But since the original creative team episodes are here, most of this season is just the same bland stuff we're used to in the MCU. Even then, some of the choices the new creative team did, I wasn't a big fan of. There's a fight in episode 9 where Daredevil and Punisher fight some cops, and sometimes it'll just use slow motion, and it took me out of the fight a lot because there's no visual purpose for it. Usually slow motion in a fight is used to emphasize an impact of a move or give time to show an aspect of the fight you might have missed if it was at regular speed. Look here, they literally do it in the original show, but here it's just a normal fight that just gets slowed down for no reason. Like, did fucking Zack Snyder direct this? Another problem I have with Born Again is that there's a lot of times I can tell what I'm looking at is fake. And this is something the MCU has struggled with a lot recently, but I'm just not used to seeing it with my GOAT Daredevil, bro. And both creative teams struggled with this. Like in the first episode, why is there so much fog in the streets? I like the idea, to be honest, but this is a little overboard. Especially since the city never looks like this ever again. And the problem with this is that this is one of the most emotionally charged scenes in the series. Like, including the Netflix series. And I'm just being distracted by a really obvious green screen in the background. Another distracting thing throughout some of the episodes is that they love spamming the Daredevil theme. I get that it's nostalgia bait, and it works in the show sometimes, like when we first see Matt in his suit, but dude, it gets a little overkill sometimes. Like the first time he fights Muse, dude, I swear to God, they replay it like 4 times in a row, and it's really annoying. And I'm someone who likes the original series with all my heart, and it was annoying to me. So, like, I don't know, man. You need to relax. Speaking of the original series, I think it's time to talk about what my main issue is with Born Again. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with me and say that Kingpin should have not been the main villain here. There's 2 problems with having Wilson Fisk as the main villain. First reason is that it's way too repetitive. The first season of Netflix's Daredevil, Kingpin is the main villain. In the second season, the main points of conflict are with the Punisher and the Hand, but Fisk is still pretty important to the plot and is being set up to be the main villain of the third season. Finally, at the end of the third season, Fisk is beaten in a way that has such finality and narrative payoff. Fisk is outed for his corruption of the FBI and is sent to jail because, as Matt would say,
"You will go back to prison, and you will live the rest of your miserable life in a cage, knowing that this city rejected you and beat you. I beat you."
So imagine watching that, and then the next fucking storyline is Fisk getting out of prison and becoming mayor of New York. Which brings us to our second problem with Fisk being the main villain. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. The reason Born Again gives is that Fisk was acquitted for his crimes because of the FBI's corruption. Now, first of all, wasn't Fisk, like, responsible for the corruption in the FBI? He manipulated them with connections he could rat out for them, and he eventually took more and more until he was in power over them. So, like, isn't that his fault? Am I missing something here? Seriously, tell me in the comments if I actually missed something, because this doesn't make any sense to me. But all of this could have been avoided if Kingpin just wasn't in the show. It's almost like Daredevil has other villains or something. You literally had Bullseye right there! Bullseye and Daredevil didn't really have that much of a personal connection between each other in season 3, so expanding upon that in Born Again would have been great. And it would have made a lot more sense for Bullseye to be released than Kingpin. You know, just say he was released out of the psych ward, which leads to him killing Foggy, because Bullseye's insane. You could have used the story from Bendis's run where Matt becomes the Kingpin because he's tired of crime affecting his loved ones. So he's just like, fuck it, I'll just control crime. And maybe after he brutalizes Bullseye, like in that comic, maybe you could introduce Akari as Bullseye's hitman for revenge. I thought of these ideas in like 2 seconds, man. Come on. I mean, hell, you already adapted the White Tiger court case storyline from Bendis's run. Why not incorporate more of his run into the show? You could even do the storyline where Matt gets married, but then his wife becomes permanently insane because of Timu Scarecrow over here. Because Matt can't have anything in his life, apparently.
I actually really like Mr. Fear. He's cool as fuck, but that's besides the point.
I don't know, this probably sounds bad. I'm not a screenwriter, but like, come on. There's so much you could have done, and you picked Mayor Fisk, the storyline that would have made the least amount of sense in this continuity. This is like in the Arkham games, where for some reason the Joker has to be the main villain for every single game. Yes, Joker is Batman's best villain, and Kingpin is Daredevil's best villain. But dude, can I have some variety? Another problem with them adapting the Mayor Fisk storyline is the huge scale of it. Kingpin shutting down all power in New York while there are riots and police gunning down people on the street? You kind of have to ask the question, where the fuck is Spider-Man? It's kind of like when you watch The Penguin and you wonder where Batman is, but in that case, it's way more justifiable. It's implied that after the events of the Batman, a lot of the city is in despair, so Batman is probably overwhelmed with all of the crime taking place and can't be everywhere all at once. It's also implied he's taking more initiative to use his Bruce Wayne side to help finance the rebuilding of Gotham after the flood, which is also probably taking up a lot of his time. So it's kind of reasonable that Penguin is able to get away with the shit he's able to in the show. But Spider-Man literally has nothing going on. At the end of No Way Home, he is fully dedicated to protecting New York as Spider-Man. So tell me, Peter, where the fuck are you when the mayor of New York is declaring martial law against masked vigilantes? That's kind of directly related to you, bud. I want to talk about the scene in this show that annoyed me the most, because I haven't been this infuriated watching something in a very long time. White Tiger's death scene. First of all, why are you patrolling the city from the sidewalk? Why don't you patrol it from the rooftops like, I don't know, any other street level superhero? You're also wearing a bright white costume. You're practically begging for people to see you. You think the corrupt cops you just won a court case against are gonna be like, hey, that's the guy who basically exposed some of our corruption. Let's just leave him be. No! Moon Knight wears a bright white costume, but he patrols from the fucking rooftops. The only other street level superhero I can think of who just walks around is Luke Cage. But Luke Cage is wearing civilian clothes, so he's not really that noticeable. And second, he's fucking bulletproof. If someone tried to blick him on the street, it wouldn't work. But you don't have that luxury, Hector. What the fuck did you think was gonna happen? With all that being said, I still have hope for season 2. It'll just be the new creative team this time, and it won't be a Frankenstein abomination. Also, now that this is out, it makes me really sad we didn't get an R-rated, gritty, and serious Moon Knight series. And instead, we got this washed down shit for babies.
Wagwan! I did it! You got planted! Layla! Did you see that?
Well, that's my soapbox today. My Daredevil comic history video will probably be in a month or something. But I'll try to have some other content out before then, though. Also, please, I need Mila Donovan in the MCU, bro. She is so bad!